Listen, no. I'm not going to have her behind
Whoopi
me.
Goldberg was hot. She was hot in Sister Act.
Sister, she was beautiful.
She was.
Yeah.
She wasn't Ghost. She was one of the main characters.
I know, we should have brought her
Yeah,
up.
but she
I
can't
was
be
trying to
behind me.
say the iconic scene.
Whoopi is not going to be behind me. Bless Whoopi.
Give her a shout out.
Shout out to Whoopi.
Speak your mind.
The rest will follow.
Speak your mind.
The rest will follow.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back. Episode 3, Speak Your Mind, sis. I'm Gladira. So happy to be here.
It's your girl B co-hosting. Speak Your Mind, sis. We're excited to be here today.
Yes. And on episode 3, we have a lovely guest with us, Jackie Richardson.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girls.
Thank
How we
you so
doing?
much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is a really unique opportunity that, I've never done anything like this before. So I'm thrilled to be here right now.
Well, girl, you're going to be able to speak your mind.
I mean, I do that
And the
anyway.
rest will follow.
I like that. I like that. So, y'all, today's show is about art, inspiration, and Black woman artistry. So we have my girl here, Jackie. Jackie's an artist, and we want to know all about being an artist in Ithaca, being an artist and an educator, what that is all about. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my
Who is
gosh.
Jackie?
Who is Jackie? Like, if you were to just take away like the job and stuff and things like that, Jackie is a passionate people person. She loves good conversation, goofy, silly, will get dressed up, loves to like shine and wear makeup, but will come with an ugly ass face just for the thrill of it. Like, just to be like, what? You didn't know beauty can be silly AF. And so I'm a goof at heart. I like to crack jokes and be silly. Like I said, like, I love people. I'm a straight up people lover. I try to find the good in most people, even though, you know, nowadays it can be kind of hard. But I do. I look for the silver lining or the gold lining because I'm all about the gold. And yeah, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Y'all ain't never been in a fight before. I've never laid hands to someone. So that should say a lot about who Jackie is. Like, I definitely use my intellect to guide me, and, you know, definitely my heart for sure. But, you know, that's Jackie.
So it's very interesting that you said you've never been in a fight. You're a lover, not a hater. What type of artist are you?
Right? Like, that's an evolution. That's been an evolution. So the kind of artist that I am today is not the kind of artist that I was when I was in college or in between college and today. You know, I've evolved as my life has evolved as an artist. And in fact, I didn't always see myself as an artist, as many artists don't always, right? I didn't have the classical traditional training that many artists do who actually go to college for it, go to an art school for it. I would have to say the kind of artist that I am is very much so like reflected by like my mom and the way that like I learned about art, which was through just the process of making things and sitting down in a quiet space at the kitchen table while my mom was cooking, and we had an open kitchen. So I could see her while she was cooking and still like make things. And she would just set out different materials for me to like kind of occupy my mind. And I would go in deep. And so like that is very much still part of my process is I'm at a table. Sometimes it's quiet, or I have like real chill music, or like jazz, or like lo-fi, playing something that just has kind of like continuous, but like not nothing too intense. And I would either go in on drawing or like watercolor when I was a little bit younger. So I started there. I used to love, hey, now this is how it starts. I used to love Play-Doh, right? And I used to just go in, and my mom would just set out like a tray of like different colored Play-Doh, and just I would just go at it. She'd say, like make things that you see around, and I would literally start making. So that's kind of part of the process now that I have, is like I sit down. I might have ideas that I'm thinking about, or things that I've thought about or seen kind of in my mind's eye. And, I'm constantly like taking things that I observed, just like I did in that kitchen with my mom. I would be watching her cook and make things and assemble things, and how she moved through the process of cooking was very similar in many ways, like most makers, like that it's process and labor, intensive. And then you get to an end product. And so that was that, like just watching that, and that being the space that I started to make in. I didn't really see myself as an artist until well after I started teaching art. So I had gone to undergrad actually for sociology and anthropology. And that was all about the world and culture. And so I learned a lot of different things about different people in different places, and that piqued my interest.
I know you kind of touched on the question about your path to artistry, and would you say your mom was like an inspiration to that, and how you like grew up in the art realm?
100%, yeah. So mom was also like one of these people that was intensely creative and kind of like an abstract thinker, thinking outside of the box. And she painted and would use oils, and she had developed some drawing skills just by drawing. She would draw my portrait when I sat, and these were beautiful pencil drawings. And she would also paint landscapes and with oil. And she was self-taught, and the work was beautiful. And so I would watch her almost in amazement. And like I said, she always encouraged me to make art. So I grew up learning that was important, right? To make things. And my mom, much like myself, loves to cook. And so we're makers. And so, yeah, my mom was a complete inspiration. And often kids mirror, right, what they're seeing. And my mom had valued making things and making beautiful things.
That's very, I feel like the inspiration that we have from our childhood, growing up, the type of community we're around, can really inspire or mold the person we are. And so as you're talking, I was thinking of the beauty of how Black women have been able to make beautiful things, to gather in community. How do you get yourself to a place where you're inspired, where you find balance, where you're in that mode of I'm going to make?
That's a great question. So for me, generally I respond to some type of stimulus, right? Or some type of provocation. And it could be an idea, or, like a thought, or someone's asked me a question, or I've seen something. And so generally speaking, when I make something, it is almost an answer, or a call to an idea, a response to something. And it has varied over time. So here's a great one from childhood, that I think I should share, which is really interesting, right? So we don't always see ourselves as artists. And there was a time when I was in about maybe third or fourth grade, and I was really bored at school. I just remember being really bored. And we used to have desks that, right, they weren't just tabletops that had the attached chair. They were chairs that were separate of the desk, and then there was almost like a space shelf cubby hole inside underneath the tabletop. And I would literally collect things on the way to school that inspired me. And it could be like a ginkgo leaf, because I would see these beautiful, magical ginkgo leaves. Now, I don't know if you know what like a ginkgo leaf is. I'm sure like a lot of people have seen it and didn't necessarily know. They are like these really beautiful fan-shaped leaves. And they have like little lobes on them where there's sometimes like a V kind of notched out of it. And they're like what would almost like an earlobe, right? And I would find them on the ground, particularly in the fall when they had turned golden. They were just beautiful yellow. And it would be on my way to school, and I would just like gather them up. And I would take them to school, and then I would put them in my desk. And then I would have like the glue stick and like paper inside my desk. And like the teacher would be teaching, and I was like assembling ginkgo leaves on paper, y'all. And then I'd be shaving my pencils and taking the pencil shaving that was like almost like in a shape of like a skirt. And I would start to recognize like, shapes, because I'm like in third grade, right? And then I would like glue and make images from those basic shapes. And then I would draw. So I would do a lot of women with skirts, and the leaf would be the skirt part, right? And then I would draw the top of the body and the legs coming out from underneath the leaf. So
would kids be like, Jackie not paying attention?
No, because to be honest, I don't think they were either. They were like in their own world. And I sat in the back, and I had a whole world in there, of different things that I collected. And so like inspiring, right, is for me responding to, so that stimulus for me was nature, right? Like I was responding to this. And yeah, a little bit of boredom. Like my mind needed to be entertained in a way that school wasn't cutting it for me. And being a resourceful and an intelligent child that maybe perhaps, was kind of flying under the radar, found that in the desk, in this little space that was all mine. And I got to just create things that were important to me. And so that's the same kind of thing even now, that inspiration is like, what am I responding to? And so often it's like my heritage that I respond to, or a question about my heritage. There's all these questions because, our people, through the African diaspora, like there's so many questions that we have. And so I often respond to that visually and through imagery.
Wow.
Jackie, I'm sorry. That was deep. Like, I feel like I was going in like a different, like space and world just now as you was like explaining that.
You were in my desk with me.
Yes. I could really picture the shavings of the pencils and the shape it was making. And I think now about art and art in school. So, how do you feel? You're an educator. So as you describe, the ways that you would become engaged, is very connected to nature. How do you feel like, how is art an important part of a child's education?
It's a really beautiful and wonderful question. I'm so glad you asked that question. And, I have answered this before, like, if one person has asked me, but never to an audience. And so for myself, and I think for a lot of people who find their way to the arts, however they find their way, art holds almost like it's validation of things that you may have been told are not important, or you may have felt are not important, or they can be a validation of yourself. So it's about you, almost like you're making something that's almost a mirror. It's like a self-portrait without looking like yourself. It's your thoughts, your ideas, and like how they are coming through onto your paper, your canvas, or through a three-dimensional sculpture. Well, it's you're putting part of yourself in that work. And that's important in an institution, in institutional education, because that isn't happening very often. Students, including myself, through my own education, what I was learning had nothing to do with me. It was about, literally I'm a vessel and your teacher's at the front and filling me up with what they determined was knowledge, what they determined was important. And while much of it was like, yeah, you need to have, math skills and reading skills. But to be honest, I didn't learn how to read in school. My mom taught me how to read. Math was a struggle for me. Math came through like everyday practice and counting change with my parents when they took me to the store. Like in the beginnings, that is, right? And so art, and while all of those things are super important, and I don't want to negate their importance in education, because you have to have those foundational skills, it is the arts and other electives are so important because they kind of nourish us. They feed us things that we aren't learning and we aren't told are important. It's literally telling like a visual check of hey, you are important. Your ideas are important. What you think is important, and what you can make is important. And it's about relevance. How is this meaningful to you as a student? And that all subject areas should be asking that and should be having opportunities. Many teachers are starting to make that shift, but there's many that haven't yet. I'm not just talking about in our district, I'm talking about nationwide, right? How is this relevant to students' learning, their knowledge, their sense of self, their growth? And art, because it transcends through time periods, is most certainly a story of how human we are, where we overlap, where we connect, and where we don't. That is so important in education. Without that, it's just useless. Not useless, but it's just it's not as applicable. Art can be applied, right? And when we know that when something is applied, it becomes ultimately and intimately and instantly more useful. The application of something makes it more real, more concrete for us. So, yeah.
Can we get an applause in the background just for some? That was dope.
Yes.
Jackie.
Oh,
I want
right.
you to be
All right,
my
yeah.
teacher.
Oh, thank you. You're my teacher. We're all each other's teachers.
Oh, thank you.
So, you are an art teacher, correct?
Yes.
And how long have you taught art?
Wow. Okay. So, I've taught art about 15 years. And I taught in Ithaca for quite a bit of that time. 13 years of that time.
Wow.
Shout out to 13 years. That's a long time to be dedicated to the students that you serve and teach every day. Speaking of that, with your students, right? What are some different ways that you I know students learn differently. How do you teach students on those different levels in the classroom?
Right.
That makes sense.
It most certainly does. And again, that is the beauty of teaching art. But in reality, it's within anything that you teach, right? So how do I do it? I slow down. I slow down with the students, and I am grateful and I'm blessed in a sense that I taught a subject that wasn't tied to a high stakes test, which puts a lot of pressure on teachers to teach very specific content in a very specific amount of time. In art, I could slow down with students and really get to know them, and that was part of it. So, building that connection and learning who that kid is, what is valuable to them, and hearing their story. So I would have assignments where really they were just, first there's conversation. They got to get to know each other, right? And so getting to know each other helps create that classroom community. And once you have established a classroom community where kids feel safe, you really get to hear and pick up on the nuances of each kid. So it's you're paying attention. It's slow. It's genuine getting to know someone. And then you have to see, you give assignments that are, I want to say, it's easy is not the correct term. It's just that it's an assignment that is really approachable. and is has enough structure in it, but not too much structure, so that you get like carbon copies of every kid's making the same thing that looks the same for the most part. But it has enough structure for the kid to say, okay, this is kind of what I have to do. I see it, I get it, but can I do this? Or I'm going to do this. And so they can put in parts of themselves and start to like alter it, right? It's kind of like learning, your rules. Once you know the rules, you can break them. It's very much like that.
Okay.
And so you meet kids right where they are. And that's like differentiated instruction. That's what that means is, okay, I see what this kid is really good at, and we're going to build on that. And then if there's a skill that I think is going to be necessary for you to learn, or I want you to learn for the next thing that we're going to do, so that, there's like some skill progression, then we're going to work on this skill. But you working on this skill still is about you like exploring materials. It's about you putting your own thoughts and ideas into this particular piece. So that's how I would approach teaching kids at different levels. And then also like not having the expectation of anything like that this work is going to look like this at the end. Like, no, this is this kid's work, and their work is going to develop, and they're going to go through a literal journey as they make this work. They might get frustrated, right? And so like as a teacher, your goal is to slow them down, and recognize the positive things that they're doing, and then give them useful, not harmful feedback that's neutral, but also so that like you're conveying like, okay, here's what you could try this, or you could try this, or what if you try this? And then so you're making suggestions, but at no point are you saying you need to do this next. Right. And so the kids like kind of the wheels start turning, or what happens if you try this? Right. And so they're starting to do like the more heavier lifting of developing their own work and moving through their own process, and emphasizing process is important. How you get there, the journey that you took is way more important than the product when you're beginning making art.
Thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
You're a professional, Jackie, over there.
Well, listen, I try.
Looking good in your green, girl.
Okay, because that's one of my favorites, but purple trumps green. Okay.
Now, Jackie, you touched on identity. You touched on reading. You mentioned reading. You mentioned math, how you learn math. And so historically, as Black women, as I'm Afro-Latina, as people of color, there's certain things that have been left out in our educational journey, or continues to be left out. And so you talked about being able to identify with what you're doing. There's a connection, right? How would you connect art to other subjects? We're talking to our audience, and there's art teachers out there that are saying, oh man, how do I be culturally responsive? How do I present to my students in a way that is anti-racist and also is identity building, identity supporting? How do you connect art to other subjects in a way that is really, as you said, is going to allow students to feel connected with what they're doing and why they're there, why they're in a classroom?
Yeah.
And sorry that was long, but
no,
I just feel like it's something that people need to hear about. And I feel like you're an awesome educator, and your work is really in allowing students to be able to identify, to see themselves.
And be seen, yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a layered question. So
Yes,
I'll do
sorry.
my best. No, don't apologize. I think it's again, these are great questions. So, right, I had already mentioned how important it is to get to know your students, right? And to build a sense of community in your classroom. Community is important. So important. And, so kids feel safe to make mistakes, right? So that's part of like that community building that has to happen. And then I think it's so important. And again, I think like Ithaca, and I'm gonna shout out Ithaca a little bit. I think that we are moving in the direction where many educators, if they haven't already, are looking at like their curriculum materials, right? And kind of like with a raised eyebrow, like where are these materials coming from? Who is the dominant voice of these materials? And so what I have done, throughout my years of teaching, and I didn't always do this in the beginning, in the very, very beginning when you're just trying to like do crowd control, and figure out how do I reach these kids and have them like really like listen, because you're very much so on a stage as an educator, as a teacher in a room. You are like an actor, right? And you're there to like grab their attention and hold it until they go off and start doing their own work. So the importance of the materials you're choosing as an educator for your classroom cannot be underestimated. I would introduce various artists from various and diverse backgrounds really throughout time. Very often in my art education, and I think probably I can generalize a little here, we've heard about Van Gogh, we've heard about Da Vinci, we've heard about Picasso, we've heard about a very white male-dominated art world. Mm-hmm. We don't hear about the Romare Bearden as much. We don't hear about Faith Ringgold. We don't hear about the Kara Walkers and or the Lorna Simpsons or the Kehinde Wileys. I mean, I could go on, or the Basquiat, right? We don't hear necessarily a lot about them, and those are just to name a few. Persons of color. There's so many. The Frida Kahlo. Like, I didn't know anything about Frida. I had never heard of Frida until I saw the movie. I think it was by Julie Taymor, was the director of that movie. Who she also had done some other films that are very like almost like a play. It was so powerful, so interesting, so visual, that I wanted to know more about her, right? But I didn't get that. So I think that showing and is like the first step. Like, here are all of these wonderful artists, and I'm going to tie this to all of the different, and you can tie. Art is one of those things that threads through the fabric of human existence. And so it's very easy, through art history to tie into all the different fields: science, math, obviously social studies. I mean, writers. It's not hard at all. The work in it is finding artists that are making that speak loudly, or speak through their work and present that to the students. Find the artists that like you can thread a connection to their lives. So like an artist like Kehinde Wiley, right? And if you don't know who Kehinde Wiley is, and you gotta look him up.
Look him up.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah.
Google.
Him up. He was the artist who did the portrait of Obama, but he had done a lot of work before, and I think, if I'm correct, he had work at the I want to say at the Schomburg, but I know various has various art collections out there. His work is takes people who are everyday people on the streets in New York City, for instance, and people that you might see as neighbors. You're just regular people who are people of color. And he flips the script by painting them in these very regal, positions where they're, they have, their head is angled up. They have these very regal and almost like royal positionings in terms of their sitting or their stance. And the clothing is the clothing that they wear, but it is the way that he paints it with the pops of color and the gold that make the clothing, the hip hop or the urban or street inspired clothing look regal as well. And then he paints them in these backgrounds that look like stained glass, but it's painting. You have to get up close and you see that they're like beautiful vines and leaves and flowers. And I mean, it's intense. It's beautiful. That's a connection that you can make to our kids so easily. How many kids, I mean, if you had seen, they can identify like, oh, that looks like my uncle. That's my uncle, Joe
That's
up in
Uncle
that.
Tyrone.
Yeah, that's right. That's Tyrone right there. That's around the way girl. That's someone we know, and it's like a mirror. Yeah, so it's a mirror and connecting artists throughout the different genres, throughout the different time periods, and presenting all of the artists that have been unheard, and presenting their stories to get kids to tell their stories.
That's key. That's key.
It's dope. Super dope.
All right, Jackie, we're going to switch up, all right?
Cool.
We're going to take you from educator Jackie
Oh, Lord.
to artista Jackie, taking you a little way from, that artist, that free flow artist. And I got a question for you, all right? Because I am a fan of the movie Ghost. Mm-hmm. And that iconic scene.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Patrick Swayze because he was fine. I just want to say.
Ooh. And, yeah, fine, Patrick Swayze. So there's that iconic scene where him and Demi Moore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Demi Moore
Mm-hmm.
are like on the wheel. And you're going to have to walk us through this because I don't know the terminology.
Okay.
But he's on the wheel with the clay, right?
And she's on the wheel with the clay.
They're both on the wheel with the clay.
Mm-hmm.
They are together. They are one. It's a very sexy scene.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my question to you is, what would your black version of Ghost be like
For that scene.
for that scene? Yes, that scene. Like, walk us through. If you, Jackie the artista.
Like if you produced the movie, right?
Yes.
What would who would be in that position?
All right.
I think
scene.
Jackie, her face was like, I will be there. And who would you be with? And like, what would be happening? Because a lot was happening.
I had so many visions just then.
Okay,
y'all
tell
were
us.
just
Walk us
y'all
through it. Walk us
describing
through it,
Ooh, okay. So, all right. First
Let
of
me
all,
put a little disclaimer here.
Yeah, this is
For everyone listening, if you got this on and your 8-year-old is around, 9-year-old is around, send them to bed or, like
it's just time. It's time for grown folk time.
it's grown folk
It's
time
grown
because
folk time.
Jackie gonna walk us through Ghost.
Okay.
And who is your Patrick Swayze?
All right, hold on now. So I'm just gonna take a little ship
Yes,
of this
yes.
real quick.
Yo,
Hold on, okay,
y'all
hold on.
know
The
our
audience is-
listeners here. We got our champagne. All right. Shout out to Cupcake Vineyards. Yo, y'all show up for
On a
us.
Prosecco.
Speak your mind. Yes. Cupcake Vineyards Prosecco, product of Italy. If you have not had a glass, please go enjoy a glass of Prosecco Cupcake Vineyards. Thank you. Now back to our regularly scheduled
You
show.
are a trip, Coral. You are a trip.
Look, Cupcake, you're
I
doing me
love
good.
it.
All right.
It is.
All
It's
right,
doing
all
me
right.
good too.
Okay.
That's right. Let me have a sip. Okay. So let me paint a picture, y'all. Everybody close their eyes. Okay.
Ooh.
So if this were me, okay, and I'm Demi Moore, but I'm Jackie Moore. I'm more of Jackie, okay?
More of Jackie.
Jackie.
You
All
better
right?
know
Take
it.
us.
First of all, the windows are open. Okay, so I'm in a room that has like a whole lot of light, natural light with plants in it. Okay, I got my incense burning. Okay, maybe a little frankincense in the background. I got my glass of my adult libation. Okay,
Ooh.
poured in a little glass, set off to the side. I'm at my wheel. Okay, and I've got my beautiful. Maybe I got my terracotta. Ooh, okay, I got terracotta clay. Terracotta's a red, soft, silty clay that, like, when it's in your hands, it feels like butter. It just slides through.
Terracotta.
Terracotta, okay.
All
and
right
it's
now.
the color of rust, of red, deep orange Georgia soil, okay? All right. High iron oxide content in terracotta. All right. The windows are open. It's warm outside, y'all, and the curtains are sheer and white blowing in, okay? And you know what? I am fast at work. I've got that terracotta on the wheels centered. Okay, and for those of you who don't know what centering is, it's when you put the clay right in the center of the wheel, and as you're accelerating by pressing your foot on the pedal, the acceleration pedal, and you're using water as a lubrication.
Yes.
The clay is spinning between your hands like a record player spins on a record. A record spins on a record player. Okay. And it just spins and it's centered and there's no blips, there's no bumps. It just glides, smooths. Now you have to apply a little pressure. Shout out to Ari Lennox. You got to apply a little bit of pressure. Okay, just to get it and keep it in the center. And that's all about your body pushing into it and using your body mechanics and, sitting correctly so you can apply the appropriate amount of pressure. To keep that clay in the center. And then your hands dip into the bucket using warm water because cold just ain't right, okay? And then you insert your thumbs back together. To insert. Oh, yeah. Insert your hands, your thumbs straight into the center. That's called opening. And then you open the clay by spreading your thumbs apart, which creates the opening of the vessel that you haven't formed yet, okay? And then you put your left hand on the inside of that opening at the very, very bottom. Okay, but now you can't go all the way down because then you'll rip a hole in it. So then your other hand works in tandem together, connected, so you have your two thumbs touching, almost like your hands were little lobster crab. Okay, all right, and pressure. So you are applying pressure at the base. That's right, the base of that clay. One hand on the inside, one hand mirroring on the outside. And as the clay is spinning through your hands, you quickly remove your right hand, you grab your sponge, you sprinkle a little bit of water on it to keep it nice, lubricated and hydrated. And then
you don't want it to be dry.
It can't be dry. Friction is not your friend here, and y'all know. All right, and then you squeeze. Yes, it's a squeeze. And if you squeeze too much, it's going to hurt the clay and it's going to rip into your hands. We don't want that. So you apply gentle pressure until you get the sense. And as you're applying the pressure, the clay is spinning through and you're lifting your hands incrementally up. Steady, not applying any more pressure. And that actually lifts the clay. And that's the process. Now, who's behind me, helping me, guide me through this? Okay, that could only be one of, maybe two people. Now, and this is gonna get a little taboo. Okay, so we're gonna roll it back to when he wasn't married, Idris Elba. Okay, because he's got a beautiful sister.
Yes, girl. Why? Well, yes.
Well, because
we are in sync. Because I was thinking dark chocolate,
dark chocolate,
and strong.
Okay, but he's a married man now, and I don't roll like that. So I'm just saying, back in the day, maybe a few years before, that would have been the one. Now.
And his wife is a dope.
She's beautiful. She's a sister
woman,
which is why I'm not. I can't entertain that anymore.
Black Boss Babe. That is one right there.
Be beautiful.
Yes.
Okay.
But for right now, Sabrina, we're just gonna
borrow his imagery.
We're gonna borrow his imagery, okay? Because you got a great black brother.
And he got a beautiful sister, right? Okay, smart, intelligent, and fierce.
So we're just gonna borrow him, Sabrina, just for a second, just for a little bit.
Okay, so that's who's behind me, or excuse me,
who you got, Jackie?
Or D'Angelo.
Ooh, yes, okay. I wasn't expecting that one. Yes, okay, okay.
Exactly. See, it took you a minute, but now you remember D'Angelo.
My lady, yeah.
He's behind me.
My lady.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, yeah, y'all want to hear the vocals.
Well, I mean, you had me right there. Okay, so he's behind you or me,
Okay,
right?
okay.
That's a good vibe, though.
We already got the
Insert that.
soundtrack too.
Thank
You
you.
see, you were
And
kicking it.
he's got them pants on. I don't even.
With the
I wasn't even
cornrows?
paying. Yes, girl. Okay.
Oh shoot!
And
All right now, Jackie, you
okay,
you came through on that one. There was a good visual.
Yes, you came
that's it
through.
right there. Okay.
All
All right,
now.
all right. So thank you, Jackie. Man, hey, y'all directors out there, producers, y'all got to come out with a black ghost. All right, I'm going to be waiting. I'm sure Idris Elba will take it on.
Idris.
Idris Elba. Yo,
Let's get it.
all right. I'm just saying the sound. Watch, it's gonna come up. Yo, shout out to Whoopi in that movie. Yo, cause she is a BBB that made that movie the sauciness it was. Yo, Whoopi went hard. What y'all think?
Whoopi was the bomb. Listen, she was like Patrick's like go-to person. Like she really also made that movie dope.
Yeah, she was so convincing as a medium, right? Like there's that scene when she's at the table and everybody's jumping into her, and like I don't know, some large man jumps into her, and she could like feel how nasty he was, and like you felt how nasty he was up in her body, the way she just like moved, and like she let you know she felt dirty after that.
Yo, and how many times have we seen a black woman letting a white woman know, like, this is how you gotta act to get your man, all right? Even if he is a ghost. I'm just saying. Whoopi let Demi know. Yo, you miss your man. Yeah. He here.
That's right.
All
She
right.
guided him.
Everyone,
Yeah, both.
y'all gotta go watch that movie
Actually,
again.
let's go.
Shout
we should
out
watch
to Whoopi.
Ghost. We're gonna watch Ghost tonight.
Yep.
Good movie.
All right, so we're gonna transition. We're gonna do some rapid fire questions.
ready,
all right?
Jackie?
Yeah,
Real
I
quick,
think so.
rapid fire
Okay,
questions.
okay.
All right.
And these are like yes, no kind of things. Like okay, just like okay. all
Yep.
right,
Answer
okay.
quickly.
Okay,
Quick,
cool.
quick.
I'll
All
do
right.
my best. Okay, here we go.
Acrylic or oil?
Acrylic.
What's medium would you work with? What medium?
Clay.
Sketch or freestyle?
Sketch.
Ooh.
Earth tones or vibrant colors? Warm or cool colors?
Ooh, okay. Earth tones. Oh no. Ooh, that's hard. I love my jewel tones. Jewel tones
Got you.
Ooh.
and cool colors.
2-dimensional or 3-dimensional?
3.
Making art for you or for others?
Oh, that's hard.
Like, would you make art for you?
Making art for myself.
Ooh. George O'Keeffe or Frida?
Frida.
Yes.
Art museum or street art?
Street art. Hands down.
Music vibe. Slow and soft or upbeat and fast?
Slow.
All right, so we have one more. Like this question here is like, would you F, marry, or block?
Oh Lord.
So you gotta go Bob
F.
Bob Ross,
Okay.
Basquiat,
Oh.
or Kenny Deli.
Oh, Kehinde
Dooley.
Wiley.
Kehinde
Who I
Wiley.
referred to
Kehinde
earlier.
Wiley.
Okay.
That name was hard to pronounce. Go.
All right, Bob Ross. Bob Ross, Mary. Listen,
Mary.
he's got a legacy. Okay.
Basquiat.
You will marry Barbara. Okay, let's go.
Listen, money. Listen, I'm not a gold digger, but I'm just saying. Okay, he has a
Basquiat.
legacy. All right, Basquiat.
She like the good things.
That's an F.
All right now.
Oh.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, and Kehinde.
You would have to block him?
Can I?
Nope.
All
Sorry.
right, Bob gets blocked. Kehinde gets married.
All right
okay,
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I forgot about Kehinde. Oh yeah. No, we getting married.
Got you.
Yeah.
Carol Walker or Lorna Simpson?
Carol Walker. And that's a hard one to choose between. Let's just say because both of those sisters have really like created literally space and open, like blown open Black female art.
Ooh, they BBBs.
For real. And then
All
some
right.
more, add brilliant to that too. Yes.
Ooh, BBB.
Black and white or color photography?
Oh, black and white.
That's dope.
All right, I gotta end it with this one because I
Okay.
gotta keep it sexy. Chocolate syrup or whipped cream?
Whipped cream.
All right, girl, that was quick.
You didn't waste no time.
Is that a medium?
It can be.
Okay.
All right, y'all.
Yo,
This was
Jackie.
fun.
Yo, Jackie.
Thank you for coming, Jackie. You are dope.
Oh my God.
You're a
thank
dope
you.
sister.
Y'all are dope. That's why you're my friends.
Yo, you are a black boss babe. Brilliant black boss babe.
Yes, girl.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
you are inspiring, everyone that's listening how to be an awesome artist, an awesome educator, an awesome black woman doing her
Inspired.
thing up in Ithaca.
I hope you guys took something from this episode, and I hope you
Yeah.
apply it to your life and your
Jackie, and you sell
experiences.
jewelry too. Can you give a shout out?
I
You got a
sure
website?
do.
You got an Instagram?
Okay.
Put it out there.
Instagram, you can follow me. Y'all better follow me, okay? Because
Follow
I
her.
respond and interact with my followers, okay? Uzuri jewelry design. Uzuri is beautiful in Swahili. UZURI. Isn't that word beautiful? Jewelry design.
Oh, also the link to that would be in the show notes of this episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, so check out Jackie's work. Check out her beautiful self. Hit her up to get some jewelry.
Yes.
Or if you just want to talk, or if you just want
Support
a
local
rerun
black
of that
businesses.
ghost iconic scene.
No.
She said no. That was the one time. Or you got to sign her.
Yes, support local black businesses. I'm always for the local
Agreed.
black. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. And as always, please go follow Speak Your Mind _sis or go to speakyourmindsis.com. Let us know. Send us comments. Let us know how we sound,
How
what
we
you want to
doing?
hear.
Yeah.
Send us some love, all right? Until next time,
All right,
stay
guys.
tuned.
Peace,
We
love,
out.
and hair grease.
Thank you.
Yes.
And now for some bonus content.
Okay, yo, it's Gladira, and we're out here. B and I and Sexy Engineer, we're out here going on a hike. So as we talked about in episode 2, one of the ways to combat the winter blues or feeling down when the daylight gets shorter or it's just like brick cold outside is to get outside. So, the way to enjoy it is to be prepared. So we got our wool socks, we got our base layers, we got hand warmers, feet warmers. We got real gloves, not those dollar gloves. I mean, nothing against those dollar gloves, the Target cute ones. I like to buy all different colors of those, but I'm just saying, we got the other gloves, like the ski gloves. We are here in Labrador Hollow State Park, about 20 minutes outside of Syracuse, downtown Syracuse. And we're about to get it. We're about to hit this trail. There's about a foot of snow out here. But the sun is shining. Yo, B, how you feeling? Are you nervous? Like, this is your first time on a snowy trail. So what's going through your head right now?
I'm just excited to be out here. This is my first time, like you said, going on a hike with you guys, and I'm excited to see what it will bring. It's cold, but I'm ready and I'm geared up, and ready to go.
Yeah, so, if we can do it, y'all can do it. Black, brown, sisters, brothers, aunties, uncles. Y'all can get out here, man. It ain't just for the white folks. All right? And you're going to feel so good. I'm about 25 hikes in. I've done this before, and it has really changed my perspectives of winter and being outdoors in the winter. Before trying this, I really thought people was just crazy. Like, why would somebody want to be out in the cold, in the snow? But there's such beautiful nature that is to be observed, and it is for everyone. It is accessible to everyone. It's just getting there, and really, we'll put some links of some things that you can prepare, that will keep you warm, that will allow you to enjoy this type of weather. But again, it's for everyone to enjoy this beautiful nature. Hey y'all, so mid-hike report from your girl Gladita. Checking in here. We got a special guest with us. B and I have a special guest who's joining us on our hike, and one of the dopest BBBs, Black Boss Babes. I know, Jasmine, also known as DJ Bella J, host of the podcast Between the Decks, and also CEO and owner of On the One in Syracuse, Destiny Mall. Y'all gotta check it out. How y'all feeling, Bianca, Jasmine? How y'all feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. We out here in the middle of nowhere. There's snow everywhere and I'm warm. I can't believe that.
I'm feeling good too. I think it's beautiful. This view we're looking at is awesome, and it's awesome to see and be around these great people.
Yo, so we are out here where no man has come before. I'm just playing, y'all. But definitely no sexy ass black women like us. I doubt it, yo. Dope as BBBs out here on this trail. We feeling good. We keeping, our endurance up. We working the quads, working the booties. We'll be back at y'all. Report later. All right, whew, we made it back. And the tigers and lions and bears, they didn't get us. They tried. But we here sipping on some nice warm tea. We got our Cliff Bar, so very important when you go hiking is to bring a snack and bring water and, in the winter, something nice and warm like tea. So how y'all feeling at the end of this hike?
Well, I'm feeling good. I just want to thank you guys for inviting me, because in my mind, I thought I was going to be lost in the Chippewa woods. But I'm here. We made it. And this was a dope experience. And the tea is good.
Yes, the tea is also actually very, very good. I had a ball. I didn't expect to not be cold, but I wasn't cold, if that made sense. But I had a good time, and I would do this again.
I also want to say this is the first time on a trail where I had to pave the trail. I feel very proud of myself. I paved the trail with the snow. This was awesome. Y'all are dope. I almost fell to my death off a cliff doing the butterfly, but we'll talk about that later, y'all. All right. That's it for now. Hiking Adventures
Bye,
101.
guys.
Bye.
This was awesome. Peace, love.
Speak Your Mind, Sis is recorded in Ithaca, New York, and is produced and edited by djhameen. Theme music was composed by JD Beatz. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, please remember to subscribe. Our contact information and social media links are in the show notes. Please reach out and connect with us. Peace.